Welcome everyone, this is Shadow Drake, and this is going to be a new playthrough. It's going to be Vulcan, Stationeer difficulty, Brutal. Now, this format is going to be different. I did the playthrough already, and I pre-recorded it, and so I'm just basically putting my commentary on this video, and the reason why is because I'm going to do a no trader format for this. So the goal is to survive in Brutal Start Vulcan without the traitor. And I need all my brain power for that, so that's why I'm doing the commentary afterwards. And so I'll see if I can do some tips as I look back on my playthrough and think about what I did wrong or right. And right off the bat, with loading, the first thing to do with the Brutal Start will of course be to turn down the pressure settings and increase the temperature slightly. And this is so that I can minimize how much oxygen is being thrown into my waste tank. Working outside during the day in Vulcan with the EVA suit is rough, and so I'm kind of wondering how the solar heating value is going to take off once that becomes a thing from live. So yeah, that'll be an interesting thing. And looking back, I of course note the X and Z values. 712 and 666, ironically enough, if you were paying attention. So I guess this is hell. Definitely looks like hell, as far as all the magma stuff. And I go off on the mining trip. Yeah, so while we are watching the absolute awesomeness that is mining, and as I check my lighting settings to see if I should keep lights on or off, I'm gonna keep the mining trips for the first couple of videos. But after I get the sensor lenses built, I will cut out the mining trips, because at that point it's you don't really need to bother seeing the mining anymore, because I got all the upgrade tech materials at that point, and the sensor lenses make finding everything easy. But yeah. So the reason I wanted to do this without a trader is because kind of in the finding what else to kind of master for this is really restricting yourself with certain things. You know, the trader is good. The trader works really well for Vulcan and Venus, and honestly every other planet. But the thing is, and I understand that people find the trader as essentially a get out of jail free card, you know, or basically get out of the mechanics free card. And it is really good at that if, you know, the RNG helps you. Because, I mean, you could just get screwed over, and every time you need a trader for a specific type, you just keep getting convenience store traders or food traders when, you know, you're dying from lack of oxygen. You know, never get a single any other kind of trader. You know, if you get that unlucky with the RNG roll, then yeah, you're basically done. So, in that sense, the no trader is to kind of put all your tools, all the knowledge that you've hopefully learned throughout your experiences, you know, all the fine-tuning you've done, and basically put it to work to try to survive, to create a sustainable gas loop. And yeah, the traders really do shortcut that whole process, but at the same time, they do help with surviving. Like, you know, with the Brutal Legend condition, that was my original goal, 30 days, and then I would use the trader. But I decided I probably don't want to do that until I can actually send a rocket and bring back space oxygen. And once I do that, then I'll consider the run complete, and I might as well just get the trader down to start, you know, buying the better seeds and stuff. So I'm gonna survive strictly off of what they gave me and what I have available to me, and I'll use the trader later. And looking back at this, I realized just how much I've jerked my movements around, so I apologize to people that I'll probably get you motion sick, so whoops. So that's my main spiel about the trader and all that fun stuff. So, coming back to what I've been doing. The first trip, I think this was a mistake. A small mistake, but I don't think it'll cost me the run. But, ideally you get enough materials for making your furnace, your tool printer, your pipe bender, your electronics printer, and stuff. But I think I stuck around too long. I got too much stuff that I don't need. And because of that, I think I'm looking at the timetable. It's been at least 5 minutes of night, which means it's gonna be daytime soon. And I don't have anything started for the shelter. Because I need the shelter. The thing about Vulcan and Venus, the hot planets, Vulcan is so hot during the day that it will burn through your air tank. And so it's absolutely critical that you build a vacuum shelter. Build an area and vacuum it out and work inside. Because otherwise, that starter tank of air is going to go to waste. Even worse, you don't want to be just you don't want to be just throwing your waste tank out, because that's filled with precious oxygen. And I think I do see that when I've seen people, or at least read it on the Discord, that when they first start, sometimes they just throw their waste tank out. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's wrong to do that. I mean, I kind of am saying that, but it's understandable to vent out maybe 1 or 2 waste tanks out. It's understandable, because Venus, it's almost impossible. It's nearly impossible to save that first waste tank. Like, you have to be almost on the money, on the dot, with getting a 1x1 airlock shelter to save that. It's just extremely difficult. So yeah. Vulcan gives you a lot more leeway because it is cold at night. So you do have plenty of time to work. Venus, however, is just hot, so you're extremely likely to lose that first waste tank. So I don't even bother on the brutal start to save it. On the normal start where you have the hard suit, yeah, probably. I'd try to save it. But yeah. So what have I done so far? I got the 3x3. I'm gonna try not to use cheesy gimmicks, and by cheesy gimmicks, like, I'm not gonna try to stack the printers. So for personal restrictions, I'm gonna try to absolutely never take health damage even from hunger and thirst. That's gonna be the goal and the ideal. It's incredibly unlikely that will happen. I'm gonna try to make sure that my mood does not drop. I'm gonna try to make sure I don't hit red hygiene. So, already that's extremely restrictive processes that I'm gonna be dealing with. So, essentially, no trader. Try not to take health damage from food and thirst. I'm not a big fan of. I know quite a bit of people do play and use their food and hunger. Well, use their health bar as a second food and thirst bar. I don't particularly like that. Well, I don't particularly like doing that because, I mean, when if you play this game, you take some health damage, you just start wheezing, and that's kind of annoying to listen to constantly. The other things that I tend to do different is, at the top right, you get a bunch of warning icons. I try my hardest not to have any of those. And you're going to see that already, I realized another very important thing. I am burning through my power. So I did not do the flare thing to save on power. So that's kind of a mistake. I don't think it'll kill me. Maybe. And, yeah. See, the sun is coming up. It's getting hot. I've sometimes been able to get, I've been able to get a 2x2 place fully enclosed and vacuumed out before, but because I'm going bigger, it's gonna be harder to do that. There you go, power low. So now is the focus. I realized that I could have a problem in accidentally losing stuff if I don't enclose this area. So I did that. And around this time I realized, I wanted to create a small little offshoot. So it's a 3x3 and a 1, so that I could build a place that I can pressurize for eating and drinking and disrobing. And I realized that I did not take that into account, so I am mad rushing. If I was trying to commentate that during this time, I probably wouldn't have anything coherent to say at this point, because it'll probably be like rush, 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 rush. And at that point, I realized that I burned through most of my iron, and I haven't even made doors, I haven't even made pipes. That's how far behind I am. I used up nearly all my iron sheets. But I mean, if you take a look at that, the shelter is coming along nice. You know, it's almost fully ready. And then I realized that I had other iron sheets. Oh, it is a mad scramble. I opted for no windows for this because I did not intend to have that for, you know, generate heat. Funny enough, when I was doing this, the solar panel up top, I've already gone through that. I did a practice playthrough one time, and I completely forgot to wire the solar panel up top. It was a marvelous way to kind of, you know, fail the run. It really surprised me because that large battery is usually enough to print out one printer off of just the battery. If you track the sun for, you know, Vulcan, Venus, Moon, and even Mars, it actually, you have pretty much enough to print out both printers. And so it was funny to me that when I was doing that black practice playthrough, that it's like, I only got the electronics printer out. I don't have a, you know, and I was really confused as to why my power was so bad. And then I realized that I actually never... I never wired it up. 2 days in, I never wired it up. What made it even worse is I actually rushed to get the solid fuel generator, and I actually was confused because I needed to do, you know, add emergency coal. And then once I did that and realized that nothing still got power, that's when I saw I never wired it in. Go figure. So what's the name of the game for day one? Day one is get the shelter completely enclosed, and now it's just a matter of, you know, tracking the sun a bit, get a little bit of power. There's a lot of time that gets wasted being your own personal solar tracker. And you can kind of see how quickly my waste tank is filling. And then I fall. That's when I realized that I don't have enough space. And then I have to do the pressurization trick. I think that's the only trick that I will ever do. That I might ever do. The poor man's pipe cow. This is a big mistake right here. I completely forgot to cook that gold at night. And I think I lucked out in that the air must have gone in such a way that the oxygen from that gold never set anything on fire. But that was a big mistake on my part. You need to cook the 2 to 4 gold ASAP. Ah, there you go. Waste tank caution. That's the big concern. But you see that I'm basically set up in a nice way to eventually use that waste tank. Now comes what I need to do. That is print the electronics printer. Taking a stock of that. I have both waters, both food, nothing else is left. And I'm basically running off of batteries for my light batteries. That portable generator is actually surprisingly useful. Like it's actually what's charging my batteries so that I can keep using my suits. So here we go. 93 Celsius on that gas. That's pretty hot. I believe this is the only time I eat and drink in a vacuum. I could be wrong. There might have been 2 times I've done this. But I wanted to go on ahead and do that to kind of refresh myself. Having that active vent on to vacuum out the place takes a huge amount of power. Now you can see that that's actually working really well. That portable battery is making that small, really helping the small batteries. Then rotating the solar panel is providing me ample amounts of power for running everything. See, this is why I was absolutely confused on that run, because running the arc furnace, running the active vents, and printing stuff, that you saw that my battery was yellow at that point. On the failed playthrough that I did for practice to kind of figure out if this is a good place, my battery would have been red or dying at about this point. So the furnace on Vulcan is an extremely, extremely useful thing to get up. Oh, one other thing. I tried to save before I went on a mining trip. The reason why is because there's a lot of ways you can have a mining accident. So I didn't intend for this playthrough to be an Iron Man mode. If I die, I start over from the very beginning. Like, I briefly thought of doing that. But the thing is, I didn't really want to just go back and redo a whole lot of things over and over again because I accidentally took a dip in lava or something like that. I just didn't want to do that. It wouldn't be very entertaining for me to be like, alright guys, let's start over for the 5th time because I keep jumping into lava. When will I learn? Or because Venus crushed me into the side of a mountain. Thank you, Venus. Like, the early trips are critical. And as you can see, this is kind of a mistake in going out mining at this point. However, I'm at a point that I need to make steel. The electronics printer is printing. And I need steel for the station battery. So, for power, I'm basically gonna forego the renewables. It's just too much time that I will spend to grab copper, gold, and steel, to then print out solar panels, to then print out cabling, to then also print out the solar tracking. It just takes too much time, too much of the precious time that I need to get my hydroponics going. There is barely enough water. Here I realized that I needed the silver, and I don't have space for it, so I had to do, inventory shuffling.
Power low.
So there's barely enough time. Like, the first week is critical for survival on a brutal start when you're not going to go do traders. I tried to take note of where that lead is, but because I was in a panic mode, I couldn't. I don't remember where it was. I completely forgot where it was, and I knew I needed that because I knew where that silver and lead were close by, because I will eventually need to make electrum. So now comes the fact that, alright, the sun is out. Now I need to really focus hard on smelting that steel. I guess, if you haven't noticed, that basically means my power source is going to be coal power. I am going to be mining for several resources constantly at many different points in time. Grabbing a little bit of coal is not that bad. It's doable. Quite frankly, it is quite doable. And here I forgot that apparently the printer can actually eat your sheets. So my printer room is more than likely not going to get pressurized until I can get there. Honestly, one of the hard parts is printing what you need at convenient and useful times. So where I am right here, I know I need to get the steel smelted. I didn't have enough iron frames. I don't know why I was playing with that door. I think I realized I needed something, and... Oh, yes, pipes. I realized that I need pipes, so I had to go back inside to print them. So as you can tell, that I've mined exactly enough to make a batch of steel. And then I realized that I really need to do better about my inventory management, so I just throw everything on the floor. Just throw everything on the floor. The floor is just strong with me when I need it to be. Trying to be extremely careful not to completely destroy that large battery.
Power critical.
See, this is really good placement, but I also realized that I should have put the furnace one tile back. But then, I guess that's fine, because I built just enough pipes to connect the input and the output. Now comes smelting stuff down. So the first things I need to do is degas. And I don't have a walkway, so thankfully I'm glad I overbuilt those iron walls so that I could degas. Now I throw a little bit of silver in there so that it can stay hot. as I degas the coal and the iron, and then I realized that actually didn't do much of anything. So might as well degas it all. And I'm seeing on the top right that my power icon is stuck in red, which at some point I see that and I get confused, and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to put another battery in there. So I got my stuff for steel in, and I'm trying to empty out the furnace. And then I realized I also left the Atmo tablet. And then that was kind of another mistake. Just, I remember freaking out, thinking I should have saved. This could end the run. But you see, I am using my jetpack. I had to be extremely careful about using the jetpack, just because I can't refill it very easily. So now I gotta get it hot. You can probably feel the panic in the way my motions are so erratic. Air tank low. See, if this was done during the day, my air tank would have been, like, dead. Multitasking is the hard part for this. Everything is completely disorganized. I have very little. Yeah. I'm freaking out over my batteries. Gotta cook. A lot of ores. But to be honest, everything is kind of going somewhat to plan. Yeah, everything is looking bad, but it's kind of going in the direction I want it to go. So I got my solid generator. Now comes the battery. I need gold, and there it goes. Honestly, getting that solid generator and the battery are the big things that help. Then I'll get my steel sheets. I don't think I have made enough materials. Probably the thing that I could have done was smelt a little bit more gold, so that I could have started the pipe bender.
Air tank critical. Air tank low.
I think that's around the time that I realized I don't have a lot of materials. I might as well just move stuff around. It's not like I can do anything. So like I said, power is an issue at the beginning, but I got the main stuff that I need. I have the coal. I just need the cables. I need the station battery. So power will be solved relatively soon, at least temporarily.
Power critical.
I'm probably never going to use that arc furnace again. I have no reason to. So I'm just hanging around, trying to save on lights, trying to find batteries. That's what I was doing there. I realized that I'm really low on power. Put a battery to charge there. Then I realized sometime later, it's like, wait, I shouldn't do that because my large battery, once that goes out, it's it's over. Yeah. I saw that it read 18%. That actually concerned me a little bit. Like I completely forgot to look outside and see that it's turning daytime. I could have just oriented the solar panel a little bit, and it wouldn't have been critical. But yeah, that's what I did, and now basically comes with time to solve power. And then I realized, oh, I should have put a battery to charge. And then I realized all my batteries are gone, except for that. Minor mistake. Easy, right? Easy. Yeah, I connected that first. Another time that I failed to play through, I forgot to connect that. The things you do when you're in a panic. And there you go. I have 10 coal. That's enough power. That's enough power generation. I think when I looked at my tablet and saw a 100% battery in there, I was like, did I really need to freak out so much? Now, I went ahead and reconnected that, but I didn't need it. I don't need that. So yeah, so power is solved. Day 2. And then I realized, well, I really need to get some more materials. Like, really bad need to go get more stuff, because I'm at a point where I can't just... I'm idling because I don't have enough stuff. So this is kind of a mistake going out, but it's not really, because I really desperately need materials to keep doing things. And this is a hard one to judge. So back to what I was saying. I ideally need to plant my first batch of potatoes no later than day 8. The reason for that is because about day 8 is when all my water bottles are out. Especially when I'm going to try to do something like do not take hunger or thirst damage. Since that's kind of my goal, to not take hunger and thirst damage. My water bottles will run out around day 8 if I've been religiously drinking. Well, not really religiously drinking. If I've been just meticulously drinking to make sure that my hunger and thirst stats never drop to 0. So that's around the time that they will run out. Now that's not a problem, because you are given a 12-liter water bottle at the start on the hot planets, and that's meant to be for your plants. And that's fine. That's something you can work with. So I set that up, and I'm going to make the tool printer. So yeah, by about day 8 is when I want to start growing. It takes about 1 hour, or basically 3 in-game days, for those potato plants to grow. Now, that's 3 Stationeer days. So if I plant the first batch of potatoes at day 8, the earliest I can the earliest you can expect them at 100% growth speed is day 11, and that will allow me to plant 9 potatoes. And that's another 3 days of growth, which means day 14 I will have 27 potatoes that I can grow. So take another 3 days. Day 18, 27 times 3, I believe that's 81. That's when I'll have 81. So it's 3, then 9, then 27, then 81. At day 18, 81 potatoes, that's when I'll have enough oxygen production for water. And that's the critical point. That's what I have to try to survive to. I went ahead and printed another large battery because I can't just keep using small batteries. And I gotta charge everything up. So that's the goal. Have potatoes growing by day 8. Now, what I am not going over this is it depends on how your potatoes are going to be. Remember, that's 5 minutes of light, 100% growth. If I do like a basic timer type script and just flood them with light, it's likely that possibly instead of, 100% growth, 1 hour growth, maybe I'll do, I don't know, 150% growth. So they'll grow a little bit faster. That's what, I don't remember the exact maths on that. But, maybe they'll grow in 40 minutes fully. So that's, that brings my 8 days, 2 days for a new batch of potatoes crops to grow. So, that means day 8, day 10, day 12, that's much better than day 18. Now, what I intend to take advantage of in this playthrough is to use both the Vulcan Sun, or the Vulcan Black Hole, and grow lights to really expedite the growth. So basically, last time I did this, I think I got potatoes growing at 200 to 250% efficiency. So that essentially cuts my time down in half. It would take roughly a day and a half to 2 days for the potatoes to fully grow. For sure. It basically guarantees it. But that's very taxing. That requires a strong cooling setup. Which means that before I can even do that, I need to get a cooling setup going. Because I need to cool down CO2 to fill my greenhouse. Because I gotta, fit in 80-something potatoes. So I need a strong cooling system to cool down CO2 to use for my greenhouse. I need to also have a strong cooling system to keep the place from getting hot. Once again, save. Another mining trip. And so, yeah. What this means is it's likely that I might miss that goal because there's a lot of idle time with this. Additionally, the biggest issue is that Vulcan, daytime really breaks through and just fills your oxygen. Goes through your waste tank. I can only work at night outside. So that's other considerations. For this one, it's time to make silver. I believe this is the time to make my alloys because I need to get tier 2 printers. To make a strong and good phase change setup, you kind of need the counterflows. You also need the large powered vents to very effectively vacuum out a room. You also need large power vents to very effectively make a good Vulcan phase change open loop cooler. So tier 2 is a must. I must have tier 2 pipe bender. Honestly, the tier 2 lathe is the only thing you don't need. You know, you gotta have the tier 2 electronics printer. You gotta have the tier 2 pipe bender. And I'll get a tier 2 tool printer just so that I have a better mining drill, because a better mining drill means faster ore collection. Again, I'll be doing that in the hopes that, you know, I shorten the mining trips so that I don't lose time. So this mining trip is about getting all the stuff I need to make the rest of the tier 1 alloys. So I'm basically shooting for 100 electrum, 100 solder, 100 invar, 100 constantin, and another batch of steel, because you'll need a big batch of steel. So that I can get tier 2 printers, get tier 2 everything, get tier 2 drill, so that it all becomes faster, because time is everything. But yeah, you can tell that things are wrapping up. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing good. I've already I'm recorded a part or two ahead, so I kind of know what's gonna happen. But I'm looking back at these, and yeah, I went out during the day specifically to look for nickel and silver and lead. Now, I thought I saw nickel at my crash site, so I didn't think about it. I didn't worry about it too hard. And I remember the silver and the lead were together. And so I thought I knew where it was. So I went off to go get other resources I need during the day. And then I got absolutely distracted, and rather than finding that stuff, I went out and grabbed other things, and then the sun started setting. And then that's around the time that I realized that the gold, the silver and the lead were kind of in like a craggy area. And I don't remember where it was. Remember how I said that I am not going to fully restart if I have a game-ending accident? You know, much earlier on? Me talking about that probably might get your hackles going. Let's just say that I'm more than likely going to make mistakes. And I realized that my hydration was critical, and I needed to find the stuff quickly and get back home. But I also needed to get the silver and the lead. And so here I am desperately trying to find it because I don't remember where it was. So, yeah, this is Shadow Drake. When we come back, we're gonna have success. Yeah. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye-bye.